Everyone tells you to say yes. Say yes to the promotion. Take the title. Climb the ladder. Accept the responsibility. That's how careers are built. That's how wealth is created. That's what ambitious people do. And for a long time, you believed it. So you said yes. You took the bigger role. You managed the team. You stayed later, answered emails on Sunday, skipped the holiday because the quarter needed to close. You accepted the calendar that never emptied and the salary that grew just enough to make leaving feel irrational. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, you started to feel something you couldn't quite name. Not burnout exactly, not dissatisfaction exactly. Something quieter than both of those. A creeping sense that the path you were on was optimized for someone else's definition of success, and you had been walking it for years without ever asking whether it was yours. This video is about what happens when you stop saying yes automatically, when you start evaluating promotions the way you should have been evaluating them all along, as offers, not obligations, and what that single shift does to your finances, your time, and your life. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why saying no to a promotion can sometimes be the most financially intelligent decision you'll ever make, how to evaluate any promotion offer on your actual terms, and what the people who have quietly opted out of the traditional career ladder are doing instead, and how it's working for them. This isn't anti-ambition. This is a more sophisticated version of it. And if you're new here, this channel exists to give you the financial clarity that most people never get. We break down the decisions that actually shape your money and your life, and we don't dress it up with noise. If that sounds like what you need, hit subscribe right now. You belong here. Let's get into it. Number 1, understand what a promotion actually costs you. Nobody talks about this part. When your company offers you a promotion, they present it as a gain. More money, more title, more influence, and those things are real. But a promotion is a transaction, and like every transaction, it has a price on both sides. Here is what you are handing over when you accept: time, cognitive bandwidth, creative energy, schedule control, and in many cases, the ability to fully disengage when you're not at work. Senior roles don't come with more freedom, they come with more surface area. More people depending on you, more problems arriving at your door, more of your identity becoming synonymous with your employer. The salary increase rarely compensates for this proportionally. A 15% raise does not buy back the 30% increase in responsibility that typically accompanies it. When you run the math, dividing your new salary by your new hours, your new stress load, your new availability expectations, the effective hourly rate often goes down. That is not a gain dressed up as one. That is a cost dressed up as one. Number 2, understand the difference between income and wealth. This distinction is everything, and most people moving up the corporate ladder never truly internalize it. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what you keep, grow, and eventually stop needing to trade your time for. The corporate promotion path is optimized entirely around income. It rewards you for producing more value for the organization. It does not reward you for building independence from that organization. In fact, it actively works against that independence, because the more senior you become, the more your lifestyle inflates to match your income level, and the more difficult it becomes to imagine living on less. The people who escaped this trap are not the ones who earned the most. They're the ones who consistently kept the gap between what they earned and what they spent, and deployed that gap into assets that generate returns without requiring their time. A $20,000 salary increase that gets absorbed by a nicer car, a bigger apartment, and more business casual clothing is not building wealth. It is funding a more expensive version of dependency. The question is not whether to earn more. The question is whether this particular offer moves you toward independence or further away from it. Number 3, recognize what you're actually trading your time for. There is a number that most people have never calculated, and calculating it changes everything. Take your annual salary. Divide it by the number of hours you actually work in a year. Not the contracted hours, but the real ones. The commute time, the emails you check on weekends, the mental overhead you carry home every evening. For most professionals, that real number is somewhere between 50 and 70 hours per week, sometimes more at senior levels. Now calculate the same number for the promoted role. Include the new expectations, the management responsibilities, the escalated availability. In many cases, the promotion pays more in absolute terms, but less per real hour. You are being asked to give more of the one resource that doesn't replenish, your time, in exchange for a percentage increase that looks good on paper and erodes in practice. And here is the compounding truth. Time spent building assets outside your employer pays you indefinitely. Time spent climbing a corporate ladder pays you only while you keep climbing. If this is landing for you, take a second and subscribe to this channel. Every week we have conversations like this one about the financial decisions that actually matter, the ones nobody's talking about at the water cooler. Subscribe and turn on notifications. This community is worth being part of. Number 4, understand the lifestyle inflation trap that promotions set. Here is the mechanism that makes this so hard to escape once you're in it. You get promoted, your income goes up, your lifestyle adjusts, gradually, almost invisibly. The neighborhood you live in, the restaurants you go to, the holidays you take, the car you drive, the school you send your children to, all of these quietly recalibrate upward to match your new income level. This is normal. This is human. This is also the trap, because now your new lifestyle requires your new income to sustain it. Saying no to the next promotion doesn't just feel like leaving money on the table. It feels like threatening the life you've built. And the life you've built was quietly engineered to make saying no feel impossible.
This is not an accident. It is the natural output of a system that benefits from your continued participation at increasing levels of intensity. The people who break this cycle do it by making a deliberate decision at some point on the income ladder to stop letting their lifestyle consume every new dollar that arrives. They create a permanent gap, and they protect that gap aggressively. Saying no to a promotion or choosing to stay flat when an offer arrives is one of the most powerful tools for protecting that gap. Number 5, learn how to evaluate a promotion offer on your actual terms. So what do you do when the offer lands on your desk? You don't say yes automatically. You don't say no reflexively. You run it through a framework that most people never use because they were never taught it. Here's the framework. Ask yourself 5 questions. 1. What does my effective hourly rate look like before and after this role, accounting for real hours? 2. Does this promotion move me closer to financial independence, or does it extend the timeline? 3. What does my day-to-day life actually look like in this role, and is that a life I want? 4. Is the income increase large enough to accelerate my savings and investment goals in a meaningful way, or will it be absorbed by lifestyle costs? 5. What am I giving up in time, flexibility, energy, or optionality that has real value even if it doesn't appear on a paycheck? Run every offer through these 5 questions before you respond. Sometimes the answer will be yes, a genuinely transformative income jump, a role that builds skills with real market value outside the company, a title that unlocks opportunities you couldn't access before. These are real arguments for saying yes. But sometimes the honest answer will be that you are being offered more of what you already have plenty of in exchange for less of what you're running out of. Number 6, understand what people who say no are building instead. This is the part that most corporate career advice never shows you because it exists outside the system that career advice is designed to serve. The people who say no to the traditional promotion path are not opting out of ambition, they are redirecting it. Instead of climbing toward a VP title in a corner office, they are building assets, income-producing real estate, investment portfolios, side businesses that started small and became serious. Skills that can be monetized independently of any employer. They are investing the time and energy that would have gone into corporate politics and meeting rooms into things that will pay them without requiring their continued presence. The math on this is not complicated. If you decline a promotion that would have consumed 15 more hours per week of your time and instead direct 10 of those hours toward building an asset, over 5 years, the compounding value of that asset may significantly outperform what the promotion would have paid you. And unlike the promotion, the asset doesn't disappear when you leave the company. This is not a strategy for people who don't care about money. It is a strategy for people who understand it well enough to see past the next pay stub. Number 7, learn to say no without damaging your professional relationships, because this is the part that stops people. The fear that declining a promotion means bridging bridges, signaling a lack of ambition, or being quietly sidelined. The reality is more nuanced than that. There is a way to decline a promotion that maintains your relationship with your employer and your reputation in your industry. It starts with honesty about your actual priorities, framed professionally. You are not saying you don't want to grow. You are saying that right now, this particular role is not the right fit for where you are personally and professionally. You are saying you want to continue delivering exceptional value in your current role, and that you're open to a conversation about what other kinds of growth or compensation might be available. Good employers, the ones worth staying for, respect this. It signals self-awareness, not complacency. It signals that you understand your own capacity and your own goals, which is exactly the kind of judgment that senior leadership is supposed to model. And if your employer responds to a professionally delivered "not right now" by sidelining you or penalizing you, you have just received extremely valuable information about whether this is an organization that deserves your long-term investment. Here is what all of this adds up to. The offer to a promotion is not a compliment disguised as a transaction. It is a transaction disguised as a compliment. It is a request from your employer, from the system, from the cultural script you've been handed, to trade more of what you have less and less of for more of what you already have enough of. That doesn't mean the answer is always no. It means the answer should always be deliberate. Every offer deserves a framework, not a reflex. Every raise deserves a calculation, not a celebration. Every new title deserves a question. Does this take me where I actually want to go? Because the people who build real financial freedom, the kind that gives you choices about how you spend your days, not just how you spend your money, are the ones who figured out at some point that the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. And it turns out, once you see that, you can't unsee it. Every subsequent decision gets clearer. If this video made you think about your career and your finances differently, do this one thing. Subscribe to this channel and share it with someone who needs to hear it. We put out content like this every single week, the real conversations about money, ambition, and independence that nobody else is having. The subscribe button costs nothing. The clarity it builds over time is worth everything. We'll see you in the next one.